Yo, what's good, everybody? What's good? This is your boy JTL, aka Op from the Norm, Big Op. You know what it is. So before I get started, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. So first of all, I want to say shout out to this might be risky panel. Shout out to the brother DJ Ham. I think he had a great conversation. As y'all can see the title, "Stop Blaming the White Man and Women." And I'm gonna say this real quick. So I've been watching a lot of Medium Man lately. Y'all go check them out if you haven't seen them. Y'all go check out This Might Be Risky. I think I'm going to start to not watch so many panel discussions where it's a bunch of females on there and dudes on there just going back and forth. You know what I mean? So I'm going to watch more discussions like this where it's more of a panel, the majority of brothers or mainly brothers on there having discussions, because we need to watch each other, talk to each other, communicate, and working on becoming better leaders again. You feel what I'm saying? So that's my thing. But they had a great conversation, so let's go ahead and get into it.
What do you guys think about the narrative of pull yourself up by your bootstraps and all that? Do you think that the white man is still a valid excuse for holding us back? That's
No.
a yes. That's a yes or no.
No,
And then I have an actual question off that.
no.
Uncle Rick said no. Will said no. Hink.
Hell no.
Mr. Vance said hell no.
No.
Illa.
No.
Yeah.
E Black.
Yeah.
JT. Black man.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. So we have JT. You said no, right? Sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the majority say no. We can actually have that conversation. I was slightly assumptive, but since it's majority, I can still ask the question. If we can't use the white man as an excuse for the state of our community, why can we still use women?
So real quick, because that is a good question. That is mainly why I wanted to do this. Okay, so he said, can we blame the white man for us being held back and what we're going through? Majority of the panel said no, right? A couple brothers said yeah. And then he said, if that's the case, then how can we blame women? Because you got a lot of brothers on the panel that will say this is what women is doing. Now, my thing is why I'm definitely doing this, because I've heard dudes say that. They disagree that the white man in the system is not a problem in holding us back, but then they would turn around and say women are holding us back. But my question is, okay, who are empowering women to do it? The system, right? That they can go to the system to get child support on you. They go to the system to get alimony, get a divorce from you, get restraining orders on you. So if that same system is empowering these women to do what they're doing, then why can't you point fingers at the system that's doing it? Just something to think about. Y'all go ahead and marinate on that.
I'll go first.
Nah, Mr. Fantastic, you go last.
Brother.
we can look, man. If we gonna keep it like adults, if we gonna be honest about it, right? I said it before, I said it again. Man, we have our problems, right? We have our problems. We have our issues. I honestly believe in my heart that black men are working on these issues. We make more money than we ever did. We take care of our children more than we ever have, right?
More than the 60s? No.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
But being in the household is a huge impact.
Say again?
Being in the household is a huge impact. And with the marriage rates what they were, I would have to push back, considering being with the child every day in a marriage makes a big difference. What you think?
Oh, you mean as far as proximity?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, definitely. I
Okay.
guess on that. Yeah.
But go ahead. My bad. Go ahead.
No, I'll concede that point. That's a fact. Like I told you before, I believe life moves in cycles, right? I believe
Yeah, I would definitely have to disagree with Uncle Rick on that, because we can't talk about we was doing better in the 60s as fathers, right? Definitely by being in the household, but then saying now we're more involved and better. And later on, Mr. Fantastic is going to say something to that fact that I got to disagree on too. But let's keep going.
It's just the way the world works, right? And right now we're in a cycle where our women are being totally irresponsible as a whole. It's just what it is. You know what I mean? I understand the expectations that have been set, right? I just think I ain't gonna even say the majority anymore, because right now, to be honest with you, I think it's a real loud minority of women.
Okay.
A very loud minority of women. But the thing is that it's drowning out everybody, bro, and nobody ain't saying that. Nobody not taking a stand on what's right no more. And again, like I said, with our ladies, man, they the ones who raise our children. And even though we supposed to be head of the households and we supposed to lead the households, you know, before that get weaponized, right? We still got to have a woman up under us that's willing to take on that mission, right? And understand that being in a marriage or a relationship, I believe in marriages, right? Or believe in that the marriage is a sacrifice on both parts, and not just one half.
But Uncle Rick, when you say,
now before him get to his next question, I'm gonna, jump in here and there, but something, quick replies to what Uncle Rick just said. He's saying it's a lot about women being irresponsible. They're supposed to be up under their man. It's marriage on both parts. Well, even though we know the stats, if you don't, majority of black men don't have kids. The overwhelmingly majority of black women do, versus that number. But at the same time, like I said in the beginning, how do you be able to point fingers at women, but then you say the white man and his system ain't no problem? So us as being our own leaders within ourselves and the families we supposed to build and lead, even if it's a minority of guys that are getting away with making all these women get pregnant, those guys are still have a responsibility that if they didn't want to get married and all that, you shouldn't be around here dumping kids and a bunch of women. So I can't agree with that either.
A loud minority, do the numbers back that up? So as an example, right, of conduct, when we're saying that 70% of our children are born out of wedlock, we're also saying the woman is responsible for that because it's her body and she goes through the most trauma when having a child. So if we use that number, how do we then transfer to say it's a minority of women with poor conduct being the loudest? I'm not saying no stat. I'm just, you know what I'm, you see what I'm like? My logic. Go ahead.
I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying. It's like,
and if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. You know what I mean?
No, like it's like I just looking at it. You know what I'm saying? And I know you don't do the sum or most. You know what I mean? We can't do that, right?
Well, we can do minority, majority.
It's like, I'm just, man. To me personally, it's like it's like, I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I went out to tonight's conversation last Thursday.
Okay.
Right, in Minneapolis, man. And during the conversations, right, you can see most of the women had legit concerns.
Okay.
But the ones that was the loudest, right, the ones that was the most rowdy was the booty shaking pussy poppy ones.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying?
I see.
Right? When the music was playing to get the party, you had some ladies, most of the ladies was the more sitting there, nod their head and listen to the music, you know what I'm saying? Right with it, right? But in the crowd, the minority was up there pussy popping on a handstand.
Okay.
Right? And most of the questions that the ladies posed were legit questions. Right? But the ones and twos, the 1 and 2 that was ratchet, everyone knew they was ratchet when they would get up there. Right?
Okay.
So, like, I don't know if, like, right now, I'm at the point thinking honestly, right, is that, are we living in a false dichotomy, right? Are we seeing things because we want to see these things? Right? These are things we want to harp on, right? Instead of actually addressing the real issues and whatever that is, right? Again, the women that most men want would not have the qualities, right, in the package that they like.
Okay.
All right. So,
all
right. Yo, can I?
So real quick, I will say something to that effect. There is a loud minority. You feel what I'm saying? But sadly enough, that loud minority is the one that's having the most kids out of wedlock. So it can still be an issue in your communities or in our communities for those people to be having all these kids and not raising them correctly. It does make a big difference. I mean, say it's just 2 million. 2 million is still a lot for 50 states. So I can understand where he's coming from on that one.
Go ahead. Do your thing. Go ahead.
Yeah. So again, man. Rick was right on the point, Hamp, about the current fathers being more involved than the older fathers. Because if you look at a lot of the older fathers, they had very little to any relationship with the children just because of the workload they had to do. Not to mention, the wars and the drafts and things like that, so on and so forth. So black men were there, and I'm not saying the influence wasn't as important, but the actual involvement and interaction with the children was night and day. You know what I'm saying? You didn't have kids. The fathers weren't actually involved with the kids, and more. That's why the moms were. My bad. Somebody say something?
No. Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead. No.
The moms were stay-at-home moms. You know what I'm saying? More likely than now, or so on and so forth, right? So fathers now are definitely more involved. Not saying better, you know what I'm saying, or impactful, but definitely the involvement is just night and day. Larry Elder tells a very good story about this, and a lot of fathers. Denzel even made a movie about fences. Pretty much as to where a lot of sons thought their fathers hated them and despised them, just because of the life they had to live at the time. But moving on.
Yeah, so I can agree with that overall sentiment, but the problem, what I said with the disagreement is, that was a minority. He said some, but that was a minority most likely. And we kind of keep running with certain narratives against, our forefathers back in the days, which jumbles the conversation a lot of time when you're talking to females. You know what I'm saying? You got to learn how to stick with one thing. Either it was better or it was worse. You feel what I'm saying? So that's all I'm saying.
No, the women are the problem because, again, the women have been running things post civil rights movement. They made decisions that they've made, and not only do they have control over themselves, but they literally have control over the men. This is why the men are so feminized. This is why we had a major uptick in, child abuse and deletions, child deletions, all these different things. So had the black women not deleted over 20 million fetuses, we would be over 20% of the population, and not surpassed by Hispanics. You know what I'm saying? A lot of different things. Financial literacy. My bad. Somebody
No, it's good. Let's.
Okay, real quick before Hamp redirects or asks another question. So when he says that about the women, he's saying it is our women's fault because they're doing X, Y, Z. Yeah, we do. They do have responsibilities that they have to claim and accountability that they have to take. But at the same time, all those deletions do not happen. I repeat, all those deletions do not happen if we don't have a bunch of reckless men out there. Now, of course, like I said before with the numbers, there's more women with kids than there's men with kids. That is true. But, that responsibility does still fall on those dudes. You know what I'm saying? So we can't just always their fault because of X, Y, and Z if you got a bunch of reckless dudes out here. Now, once we start losing our programs, when you look at the 94 crime bill and all that, when they started taking money from the programs to put them to prison systems, I got to do y'all research on that too. I'm going to drop a video on that, but make sure y'all do y'all research. All right. Once money start going from the programs and giving these children things to do, or the young boys especially, we keep seeing it get more and more further down the rabbit hole of recklessness. So we can't just blame that on women. I know it's a minority of men, but we still got to throw both in there to give it full context. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, I think you've articulated the point. You illustrated it as well. Let's see if somebody has a different opinion. Look like Will been trying to hold his tongue. Pause. What you think, Will?
So,
but you agreed. You said yes. Though the white man is not an excuse, right? Just to be clear,
the white man is not an excuse. No.
All right, go ahead.
Yes, but that's the point I wanted to address. One, the white man is not an excuse. Not having the forward-thinking move and the responsibility and blaming someone else shows lack of representation of yourself. If you don't have enough faith and belief in yourself and you want to blame someone else that's halting your progress, I question the position and the stature of that man. And when it comes down to the women, I understand how in certain flavors or sectors or factors, it can seem like women have the upper hand. And I understand that throughout time, it has shown that in some cases, in a minority in a minority of cases. But when it comes down to it, you have men who are pushing the boundaries and to get away from that scapegoat of, oh, it's the women's fault, it's the white man's fault. No, have you taken that responsibility upon yourself? Blaming someone else for the inhibitions of yourself is the first step of failure.
Damn, go ahead, be black man.
And yeah, I got a little pushback
Hey, some good
on that
points.
simply because I don't think it's more of the blame. I think it's more of the blueprint. And what I mean by that is that if you go look at the blueprint, you'll see we need all these niggas in one area of the town. Mm-hmm. Everywhere you go, you drive into a neighborhood, you will say niggas live here. Right? You know where they put them at, right? It was called redlining. You know that. Ilosophical knows that, right? Redlining, right? They put you niggas are gonna be in one area and you're gonna be in the South. You come to Dallas, I'm in Dallas. Go to South Dallas is niggas. South Atlanta, well, Atlanta full of niggas, but South Atlanta is gonna be the worst niggas, right? You go to South anywhere, it's just full of niggas, right? And
well, that ain't always necessarily true because you got in Jacksonville, the north side is actually the hood. When I was a young kid and I first went there, it really messed my head up. But the north side of Jacksonville is the hood. Just saying that real quick.
And so we know that happened, right? And in some cases, you don't blame anybody for that, right? You don't say, we go back and look at the early start of Planned Parenthood. They went into the neighborhoods. The white woman came over, Mr. Margaret Sanger came over and told the black nurses, go in there and tell them I got an idea. They ain't got to carry that baby no more. Mm-hmm. I cut it up out of them. Guess what? Guess where they put all the first Planned Parenthoods at? They were in the hood. The first one was in Harlem.
Yep.
Right. So you see what I'm saying? So you when you get set up to fail, you fail, and then over years when you don't go, black people don't sit on no couch, and back then grandmama didn't go to no therapist, right? So when you get that kind of pain in you, or you get that kind of mindset in you, you get up and you hear the older people say, hey, don't look at them white folks when they come on the elevator. Put your head down. Like them older, like they still got that mindset. It's because they didn't go through a process of healing and they pass it on to more generations. So I don't think it's more of them blaming or pointing fingers. I think it's more of the blueprint of how it was set out.
Well,
yeah, see, BMU, Black Man Unfiltered Network made a great point just then. You look at where the first Planned Parenthoods was set out. Harlem was the first one. Y'all do your research. That is true. With the lady Margaret Sanger. Then you have to also look at the red line. Like, you have to do your due diligence on your history. Like, you really have to do that. I did a video on that. Y'all look it up. The video is called The Color of Money. You know what I mean? It was a Pulitzer Prize winning article that they talked about redlining, breaking it down. So y'all can just go in the section and my section and just search for it if you want to see it. But he has a point. It is the blueprint. And that is, you do need to point these things out to understand the history of why we're like this. You can't just leave it to chance of thinking your understanding or the context makes sense to think, okay, well, it's like that just because they choose to be like that. And that's another brainwashing that when other cultures come to this country, they think that. They go off what they've seen in movies and TV shows and heard on music. Or things they read and seen on the news. They actually, a lot of them have been brainwashed. And it's so many different people that I've met that I've been honest with me, that being around Black people, they seen a difference from what they heard. Even the Africans and Jamaicans and Haitians be thinking that same thing until they actually grow up around us and can tell the difference between a people that are normal like them versus a people that has been told to them that all these people are like that. You get what I'm saying? And you still have people in this country that operate off ignorance. So it is knowing what's going on, but we can't leave it there. You can point out these things, and I'm gonna bring this up in a second. I'm bringing it full circle. You can point these things out, but it's something that you got to do when you point these things out and teaching the history to your people.
Let me give a little bit of pushback, but deprivation does not motivate you to fail. Do you need to be motivated to fail? I think that's the biggest factor when it comes down to this, because you can't motivate someone to be unintelligent or uneducated. You have to motivate someone to get educated, to be inspired, right? Mm-hmm. So even in those situations where the white woman came to the neighborhoods, even in the situations where you try to move into the white neighborhoods, you just want to get out of hood. Excuse me. You have to be at a certain level of intellect to say, you know what, I'm gonna just go along with the get along program. I'm gonna go where the niggas is at. I'm gonna gravitate to where my people is. And when you do gravitate to where your people is, what's bound to happen? The same thing that's happened in some of the most prominent black cities all across America. But that same point cannot be made for all the black people that's living outside of America, that's living in these certain sectors. You look at Japan, you look at Germany, you look at France, you look at all of these different places. Black people don't result to themselves. I'm sorry, they don't look at them. They don't look at their counterparts as niggas. They look at them as people. I think that's a colorism issue that's only centered here in America.
Let's do this. Let's get ill.
See, he made some good points, but the thing is, you still can't take out the colonization. Because when you go to Africa, Haiti, Jamaica, and stuff like that, they have been colonized too. So they go through a lot of same things we go through. Things have been different for them, but because we had chattel slavery, you know what I'm saying? The breeding and all that is different in these other countries, but they've been colonized too. That's why they speak certain languages. You know what I'm saying? Like I got to do a piece on when Godfrey was talking to Shannon Sharp on his show, because he brought these things up. Well-educated brother. Shout out to Godfrey. Shout out to Shannon Sharp. I got to do a piece on that. But they've been colonized too. And even though they don't look at the whole color thing, they look at as people or tribalism, if you will. When they come here, what do? Because they've been brainwashed by their colonizers to come over here and look at us. They think nigga is an actual race. Now, that's not intelligent at all. And they're supposed to be smarter than us, right? So I get what he's saying, but you can't just watch that out with the rinse. It's gonna come out in the rinse. It's the proof in the pudding. You know what I'm saying? That, and then he's saying for us motivate them, you gotta be a certain mindset. I'm gonna go along with this program. Yeah, you gotta remember, just like BMU said, if they teaching their kids, look down when a white person come around, don't look them in the eyes, because that was a law, reckless eyeballing. That's how they was able to get away with the murder or deletion, if you want to call it that. Please excuse me, and I'm just adding context. Emmett Till, rest in peace. That's how they was able to get away with deleting that young child. I'm just saying, come on now, you can't leave the context out.
And then Hank.
Repeat the question, bro, because I want to be right. I don't want to say nothing too. You know what I mean? I want to be on
Well,
top.
you can do one or two things. You can comment on what the brother said, or you can answer the question flat out. But I know they kind of went back and forth, so that discourse maybe ended at that juncture. I know Hank wanted to get in on that. Hank, did you want to get in on what Will said specifically? Then I can circle back and ask Illa the question fresh.
Yeah, well, both what Will said and what BMU said. So the thing about it,
and then we'll get Illa. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So the thing about it, it sounds like a defeatist mindset when we try to keep blaming the white man. But we'll knock down the women. But the unfortunate thing, we allow these women to have that power. So we some punk ass dudes for allowing that shit to happen. That's on us. We got to eat that, wherever we want to or not. We allow them to have that power. Once they gave that power, they're not going to give it back. It's going to take bloodshed to get it back from these efforts, and they're not coming off of it. So as far as like BMU and my man said, the blueprint, we know the blueprint too. We got the blueprint. Why in 2024 we keep falling for the banana and the tailbite bullshit? When are we gonna ever learn? When are we gonna learn from our past and why we gotta continue to repeat the bullshit? That's my problem. I don't believe in this. Keep blaming the white man. Fuck the white man. We can't even get along on being what's pro-black and what's not. We can't get along with talking about, oh, she got a white man, oh, we can't take her serious. I gotta look at her side eye. Motherfucker have to hit you with me because I'm a light-skinned man and you a dark-skinned brother. We killing our own goddamn stuff. Fuck them white boys. They sit back with their hands in there and just watch us do dumb shit. I'm done.
Now, can I respond to him real quick?
15 seconds.
And real quick, I agree with Hank is saying 2024, we know the blueprint. Why we still falling for it? That's because we keep having too many people on our side saying F the white dude or the system, it's us, it's just us. Now it's on autopilot. If you had this thing set up for centuries, they ain't got to do nothing. It's on autopilot. Just like you got auto pay. This shit is on autopilot. Let's just keep it funky and real. Like I said, is nothing wrong with pointing out and adding context. You talking about we gave the power, we took the air when it came out women? Yeah. Because they use the system. So you ain't gotta blame an individual person or color, but you do got to look at the system, talk about the system, but also I'm about to add to that. Hold on.
15 seconds.
So he, like you said, the power, whatever. I'll be interested in hearing you more on how to do that, get that power back, and let men know that. But even last week we were talking about parenting by estoppel, which just came out, which if you don't know about it, is basically if a man dates a woman who already has children who are not his, if he does anything to financially support them, she can take him to court and get child support from that man because he invested in them financially.
Go ahead, Illa.
Yeah, I'm gonna say this. I don't know when black men, I don't know when it became like cool to just dismiss systematic systems, because it's a difference between being a victim and knowing what actually happened. I think two things can be right at once. I think people like to say the white man. I don't like to use that word because it's a low-hanging fruit. It's not necessarily the white man, because the white man is just a person. We're talking about a systematic global push against people of color. That's not just something that somebody made up yesterday. Right now in the Congo, they get the chips for all these iPhones from them people in the Congo. They don't get shit from that. That ain't got nothing to do with somebody being lazy. That ain't got nothing to do with somebody not putting their bootstraps up. I think men in America, the fact that we saying, you're right, Tahink, there should be some bloodshed, go to war, but I ain't about to go to war with no broad. She's only empowered by the system. The system empowers women to do what they do. The system empowers people to do what they do. These record labels that push the music that's talking, that make these records that's speaking negatively about black men and black women. Black men don't own them shits. Now they can participate. They don't have to put the music out. They don't have to sign a contract and do it. But the fact that somebody has a system with an incentive program for you to destroy your own people, that's diabolical. So the fact that we just ignore that's been going on for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years, is either men are just scared or men really don't know their history. We're talking about people who already pulled their bootstraps up before everybody even fucking got here. And it's Black Wall Street happened. I don't care how old it was. It happened. Them people, they had their own banks. They had their own libraries. They had all the things that we claim we want now. They did it without the technology, without social media, without GoFundMes and all of that. They had their own communities. They went to church. They did all the things that an upstanding citizen should do. And what did they do to those people? They just killed them. So that the fact that happened on this soil, we can't act like we never seen our people get our thing together. We have got our thing together, and it was still pushed back. Is that saying that we can't get our thing together ever? No, but to ignore a systematic assault that's going on in people of color all over the world just because we got a couple athletes that made it, just because we got a couple entertainers, it just doesn't make sense. So I feel like it's a difference between blaming a white man, and it's a difference between that and understanding the systematic structure that's already made this way. I don't care what you see. People, we think the problem is once the brother get a couple dollars, once he get his job, once he get 100,000, he doesn't feel that energy anymore because he feel like he can buy his way to being accepted. But that shit don't really matter. It's about, like Martin Luther King said, it said if one man is not free, then none of us is free. So it don't matter. It's not about we need to fight the white man or nothing, but to ignore the system like this. Come on, bro.
So I'm about to end it here, but I want to leave y'all with something real quick. So Illa Sophical said some great things. We talk about them times, and that's why it's important to educate yourself, to not just think that, our people have just never wanted nothing, just gave up. Because I know so many people that I've had those conversations that they don't even know their own history, and some of them be older than me. I know. I just turned 40. Thank be to God. Thanks to the Most High. Yahweh just blessed me to turn 40. You know what I'm saying? But I be talking to people that 50s, 60s, and don't know that some of their history. Some of the stuff that they actually might have lived through. But he said some real things. We did a pull up by Bootstrap post-slavery. And you can look at Tulsa, you can look at Greenwood, you can look at the Gap, not the band, but out there in, I think it's Cleveland. You can look at all these different places. I got another show to do. But you can look at all these different places and see the destruction that they did when you, especially around the time of redlining, when you had angry racist whites that was mad because we were doing better than them. Yeah, true. Doing better than them. That's where the race riots and all that happened. They start making up lies to just attack our towns. So you can't throw that away. But what I want to leave you with, even when we point those things out, we still have to build. I can teach the youth, the young man, the history, but also show a way for the future. Share my resources, not just with anybody, but teaching people to be deserving of, so they'll know what to do with those resources going forward to help build their families, and then, God willing, build a community together. So we have to show that. And then for us, what he said about 2024, while we still falling for banana in the tailpipe, like there's nothing wrong like that. You know what I'm saying? This is where it's an issue. Let me show y'all something. All right, this is something real. We can't act like things are not still, you know what I'm saying? Things are not still there that are our issue. So I want to bring y'all back to something that happened in 2020. Y'all see this? All right, look. North Carolina cops fired over conversations about slaughtering Black people. Second Civil War. All right. This is on Fox News, not the other part. So let's read. 3 North Carolina law enforcement members were fired Tuesday after the department vehicle's dash camera footage revealed conversations laced with profanity and racial slurs discussing the slaughter of Black people and the need for the second Civil War. Wilmington Police Department fired Captain Jesse E. Moore, the second officers Michael Kevin Piner and James Brian Gilmore after an internal investigation uncovered extensive violations of policies regarding standards of conduct, criticism, and the use of inappropriate jokes and slurs. We are just going to go out and start slaughtering them. Effing Nick Pioneer said, reportedly, perhaps the most troubling part of the lengthy recording. The Iowa police chief claims Facebook comment purportedly calling BLM protesters road bumps was a total accident. See, this was in Iowa. He also said a second Civil War was needed to wipe them off the effing map. Police Chief Donnie Williams, a 30-year veteran of the force, made the announcements less than 24 hours into his first day as chief, Port City Daily reported. It was cleared by Wilmington City Manager Sterling Chetham to release documents detailing the conversations, given extraordinary circumstances. Today is a challenging day for me because, as your police chief, one of my first major tasks is to announce the termination of 3 veteran police officers, Williams said at a news conference on Wednesday, according to the local newspaper. When I first learned of these conversations, I was shocked, saddened, and disgusted. The new chief said, there is no place for this behavior in our agency or city, and it will not be tolerated. So shout out to that police chief. But you see, these things are still going on. These things are still issues. So I put it to you like this. We can teach, keep building, or we can keep building, but you still have to teach. You still have to know what it is. We have to show what happened. We have to tell the truth about what happened, but also helping to build, because like they say, if you don't know your history, your past, you're doomed to repeat it. And that's what's kind of going on now. People don't care no more. We've disconnected from our history and our greatness. That's the issue we're having. These are the conversations we need to have so we can get back on code for what we need to do for each other. And when you believe in the Most High, it ain't just about staying to yourself, just a group of people, not being around other people. It's not about that, but it is your community, your village. Because if we don't, we're going to keep still being those same main statistics that they are saying is making our country look bad. We can't have that no more. This your boy JTL, aka Big Op from the Norm. Make sure y'all like and share. If this is your first time checking me out, make sure y'all subscribe. Of course, the full video of what we just watched from This Might Be Risky is in the description. So make sure y'all go check that out. All right. Y'all keep rocking with your boy. I'm out of here. Chip.